I'm Professor朱向玉from Shandong University. I'm very happy to discuss system physiology with all of you today. What I teach is Chapter 2 of neurophysiology. The basic methods of neuromodulation is reflex. According to the characteristics of the reflex formation process, reflex can usually be divided into two types: unconditioned reflex and conditioned reflex. The essential difference between conditioned reflex and unconditioned reflex is whether there is involvement of cerebral cortex. Without involvement of cerebral cortex, the nerve center is below the cerebral cortex. Conditioned reflection is an advantage regulation function of brain, which improves ability of animals and humans to adapt to the environment. According to the different structure foundations, connection between neurons can be divided into three types: single-line connection, divergent connection, convergent synapses. Divergent connection is a junction that occurs between presynaptic neuron and two or more presynaptic neurons. Ratio of pre to post is less than 1. The stimulation of postsynaptic neurons depends on temporal summation. Convergent synaptic is junction between two or more presynaptic neurons with postsynaptic neurons. The ratio of pre to post is greater than 1. So that is the difference. The stimulation of presynaptic neurons depends on the spatial summation. The characteristic of excitement spreading in the central part of the reflex are: 1. Wave thread, 2. Central delay, 3. Sound, 4. Changes in excitement rhythm, 5 is after discharge, 6. Sensitivity to internal environment changes and voltage. The most prominent feature of human reflex is ability to establish the conditioned reflex to the stimulation of language. Presynaptic inhibition is the effect of inhibitory synapses on the postsynaptic membranes. Presynaptic inhibition is inhibition occurs at the presynaptic terminals before the signal ever reaches the synapses. Neuron A has no direct effect on neuron C, but his effort is presynaptic effect on ability of B to influence the C. The presynaptic effect may decrease the amount of neuron transmitter released from or increase it. Feeling is the physiological phenomenon, a subjective reflection of objective world, but it is based on physiological processes. Focus on the two major processing systems of the thalamus, the sensory presentative area of the cerebral cortex. Sensory pathway. Sensory pathway lies on 3 neurons. The firstly is enter spinal cord from pituitary. The second crossed over, extends in spinal cord to sesamus. The third is projects to centimeter sensory cortex. Spinal sesamotic pathway, which carries pain, temperature, touch, and pressure signals. Neuron enters spinal cord through dorsal root. Neuron crosses over the spinal cord, extends to sesamus. Neuron process from sesamus to centimeter sensory cortex. The spinal cord and brainstem sensory pathways, wireless sensory impulse of the body and internal organs, except sight, hearing, smell, and taste, are all uploaded to the cerebral cortex, while the spinal cord, afferent system of press sesamus, spinal cord, and brainstem, conduct pain, temperature, and light touch. Nerve fibers that conduct fine touch and muscles perceptions. The ascending system has posterior cord, spinal cord, or medial sesamus. Sesamus means brainstem. The sesamus and his projection system. The function of sesamus. In animals with underdevelopment cerebral cortex, the sesamus is the higher sensory center. In humans, the sesamus also plays a very important role. Dorsal column pathway carries fine touch, vibration, and consciousness perception signals neuron centers spinal cord through dorsal root, access to the module, neuron crossover in module. Access to ceremus, neuron process to sesamus sensory cortex. Sesamus sensory projection system. Sesamus stimulates the cortex to send out impulses, triggering corresponding responses. The features of specific projection system is point-to-point projection relationship from the synapse with the fourth cell of the cortex, which inverted distribution. The projective area of is related to permanent receptive field. Non-specific projection system. Diffused projection to a wide area of the cerebral cortex. Non-point-to-point projection relationship. Form synapses with each cortical cell cause a weak depolarization. Function. Changes in the excitement state of cerebral cortex and maintain wakefulness. Sensory representative area of cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is the highest center of the sensation, and its functional position is the sensory representative area. Now we're talking about a feeling of pain. Pain is unpleasant sensory and emotion experienced, associated with actual or potential tissues damage, or described in terms of such damage. Pain receptors are free nerve ending. Any kind of stimuli, when reaching to pain threshold, can deduce the pain. Pain is mediated by chemicals such as K, H, plus histamine, and released by damaged tissues. Fast pain is bright, sharp pain, well-defined sensation, quickly onset and quickly disappeared, and dictated by different fibers. Slow pain is dull, burning pain diffuse, but not well-defined, slowly onset and slowly disappeared, and dictated by different fibers, usually with emotional and vegetative response. Now we're talking about the concept of referenced pain. Receptor distance often causes the pain on the surface of the body. Characteristic of reference pain is poorly located, slow and persistent. Be sensitive to stretching, but not to cutting and burning. Accompanied by unhappy feeling. This type of referenced pain occurs because both visceral and synaptic efferents often converge on the same interneurons in the pain pathway. Excitation of synaptic efferent fibers is the more usual source of efferent discharge. So we refer the location of visceral receptors active to the synaptic sources, even though in the case of visceral pain. Motor functions of the neuron system. Organization of motor system are motor contexts. Brainstem spinal cord movement including reflexive movement, rhythmic movement, voluntary movement. A motor pathway consisting of motor neurons by which nerve impulse from many central sources passed to muscle or gland in the perimetry. Motor units is the single motor neuron and all muscle fiber is innervated. Motor units are the physiological function unit in muscle. All cells in motor unit contact. Animals that cut the spinal cord between the level of the fifth cervical spine to separate the spinal cord from upper center are called spinal animals. When the spinal cord is suddenly transsectioned in the upper neck, essentially all cord functions, including the cord reflexing, immediately become depressed to the point of total silence. That's point to the spinal animal. Now at last, we're talking about a very important concept is spinal shock. Skeletal muscle tension decreased or even disappeared. Blood pressure decreased. Peripheral blood vessels dilate. Sweating reflex disappeared. Urine and feces retention. The cause of spinal shock is severe the spinal cord suddenly lost the regulation of the head center. Now that's the end of chapter 2 of this lesson. Thank you so much for your attention.